Welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lotta, and today I'm going to be sharing another no-bake cheesecake recipe with you. Now this cake is made up of a chocolate cookie crust that's layered with our usual cream cheese mixture, and on top there's going to be blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries all covered in a beautiful red glaze. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's recipe and let's get started with our no-bake crust. Now, since I've made a few no-bake cheesecakes on my channel already, the no-bake crust should not be a surprise to you guys. So we're using 300 grams of digestive cookies, 75 grams of melted butter, and 50 grams of chocolate chips. Now, alternatively, you can also just use chocolate digestive cookies as well. I couldn't find any, but I really want the crust to be like a little bit chocolatey. So I'm just gonna melt my chocolate chips in my already melted butter, and then everything else is going to pretty much stay the same. We're just going to crush up our digestive cookies. I always like using a food processor, and then we just mix everything together until we have like a sandy, crumbly mixture. Alrighty, the chocolate chips are also pretty much completely melted, so I'm just gonna add it to my cookies. We're just gonna really quickly mix this around until everything is slightly coated in the butter mixture and it's kind of sticking together a little bit. This does not seem chocolatey enough for me, so I went ahead and melted down another 50 grams of chocolate chips, and I'm just gonna mix that in as well. And then hopefully this will be more chocolatey. I feel like using digestive cookies that already have chocolate on it would have definitely been the way to go. But we learn. Okay, this looks a lot better. It looks a lot more chocolatey, which is perfect. So we're just gonna press this into our tin. We can set our crust aside for now while we make our cream cheese mixture that's gonna go on top. Now for the cream cheese filling, you're obviously going to need cream cheese. Now I let mine sit out at room temperature for a little bit just to kind of soften up. And that's just gonna make sure that it becomes really creamy and it's gonna mix into our mixture a lot better than when it's cold. If not, you can always just microwave it for a few seconds as well. Additionally, you're going to need 200 grams of yogurt. I'm using Greek yogurt. Again, you can use whatever you want. 1 package or about 8 or 9 grams of gelatin. The juice of 1 lemon. Now, I have all of my frozen lemons still, so I'm just kind of estimating what about 1 lemon might be. 40 grams of powdered sugar, a good splash of vanilla for flavor, and last but not least, 300 milliliters of heavy cream. Now we're gonna start by mixing our gelatin with a small splash of water and just letting that sit for about 10 minutes. Now in the meantime, we can already go ahead and whisk up our cream until we have some nice stiff peaks. We can also go ahead and mix together the remaining ingredients as well. Now at this point, our gelatin has also thickened up. So from here on out, we need to heat this up just until it's melted. Now you can either do this on the stove over medium-low heat, or you can do it in the microwave for about 10 seconds or even less. You basically just want to make sure that this is nice and liquid again, but you have to make sure that you're not overheating it, because gelatin, once overheated, it's not going to bind to the mixture, which is obviously not what you want. So as soon as it's kind of like a liquid consistency, take it off the heat, and then we can move on. Now at this point, we need to temper our gelatin. So that basically means that we're going to slowly add dollops of our cream cheese mixture into our warm liquid, and that's basically going to start evening out the temperatures. And once it's cooled off quite a bit, we can just add our entire gelatin mixture to our cream cheese mixture and give that one nice good mix. And at the very end, we can fold in our whipped cream. Now at this point, you can give it a quick taste to see if you need to add any more sugar, vanilla, lemon juice, or really anything else. I think it's good. I'm gonna keep mine like that. I'm just gonna transfer it onto my crust, and then we're just gonna smooth it out. I'm gonna put this into the fridge for now while I get all my berries washed and ready to go. Now while the berries are drying off, we can also go ahead and make our glaze. Now as usual, I'm going to be using these glaze packages. In this case, I'm using 2 of them. So according to the package, you're going to need 500 milliliters of water. I'm using this cranberry raspberry juice instead, just because I happen to have it, so I might as well use it just to give it some extra flavor. And then you're also going to need 2 tablespoons of sugar per package. So that means 4 tablespoons of sugar, which is 60 grams of sugar. I'm using half that, so I'm using the amount for 1 package, just because the juice already has quite a bit of sugar in it, and I just don't want it to be too sweet. Now, like always, we're basically just going to add everything into a pot and bring that up to a boil until it's nice and thick. And then we're just gonna let it cool off ever so slightly. Now while I let this cool off a little bit, we can also go ahead and add all of our berries to the top of our cake. Now you can be as creative as you want with this. If you really feel like it, you can do like a really cute pattern with all of your berries. I think I'm just kind of going to spread out my blackberries and my raspberries and then fill any gaps with my blueberries. Now I'm gonna save my leftover berries that didn't quite fit, and I'm either going to do some decorating on top or I might just eat them. Now at this point, all that's left to do is carefully pour over our glaze. At this point, our cake needs to go back into the fridge for 4 to 6 hours just to make sure that the gelatin has completely set. Now, in my case, I'm just gonna leave it in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow we're either gonna do some decorating or we're just gonna eat it. Now, as you can see, it's the next day, so I'm going to carefully try and remove it out of my tin. Now, I don't think it's necessary to do any more decorating on top, so I'm gonna leave my cake just like this. But again, feel free to use any leftover berries with some whipped cream or some chocolate to do some decorating if you so choose to. But that's gonna be everything for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up or write me a comment down below. And as always, the entire recipe is also going to be in the description box below.